So, the big question is, who will die in the Bad Batch finale? Will it be Hunter, Crosshair, Wrecker, or Omega? Or will it be neither of them? Well, I think I might have an idea. What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Cantina Talk. What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This will be my final predictions for the finale of Bad Batch Season 3 and the series as a whole. So far, it has been 3 years into the making, and I cannot believe that we are almost there. As of recording this video, we are less than 24 hours away from the finale, and I cannot be more excited. With all that being said, this is a prediction video. Nothing that I say will be 100% certain, but if I do end up being correct on some of these predictions, you have been warned. But before we get into the video, I would just like to ask that you like and subscribe. We're so close to hitting 1,100 subscribers, and my goal is to hit that by May the 4th. Without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So I'm going to list these in tiers, and the first one being predictions for who will live. The first one's going to be Rex, Wolf, and Gregor. We all know that they are going to show up in Star Wars Rebels, so they almost have plot armor and they aren't going to die. They might get injured in some way, but they're definitely not going to die. Mainly just because we know that we will see them again in the future, and when we see them, they are unscathed. And that's going to be the same thing for Fennec Shand. I don't think we'll see any of Fennec in the finale, but she definitely will live because we will see her in Mando Season 1, Mando Season 2, and the Book of Boba Fett. The same goes with Tarkin and Palpatine. We already know that they are going to live as well. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. I think actually that Wrecker will live. Yesterday I went through and rewatched the entire season to catch back up and to see if I missed anything, and honestly, Wrecker has had, I think, almost 3 fake out deaths so far this season, so I'm going to say that he's not going to die anymore. I was more on the fence that he was up until then, but now after rewatching, it's becoming more and more apparent that they're wanting us to believe that, and I don't think that's the case. I think Wrecker will live, and he'll be the surviving member, along with Echo, that'll take care of Omega. So with that, we can cross off Wrecker and Omega and Echo all off that list. There isn't a reason for Echo to die. He only's been in for 2.5 to 3 episodes and hasn't really been too important to the story. Next will be Emery. I don't think Emery is important enough for her to be killed off. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but the only way I could see her dying is if she gets caught inside Tantus during the Zilla Beast attack, but I don't see why she would die. I kind of thought that she might, but at the same time, it wouldn't feel too important. It wouldn't feel like it's worth the time. And with Emery, we're going to move on to the children. Obviously, the children are going to live. They're not going to kill a bunch of children in a kid's TV show. Kenobi is definitely different. That was made for more of a mature audience. So, the children, along with Omega, will not die. Like it or not, Omega is the main character of the show now. It's becoming more and more apparent through these last 2 seasons that Omega really is the main character. So she's not going to die. And obviously, too, Batcher won't die either. I can't see them killing Batcher in any way, shape, or form either. It just doesn't seem likely. And we know that Asajj Ventress' story will be continued in the future, so I'm going to go on a limb and say Ventress isn't going to die either. There just really isn't enough time to show that part of her story in this finale, and it would feel like a waste. But I want to move on to the other side of it, for the predictions for who will die in the finale of Bad Batch Season 3. Right off the bat, I'm going to say Dr. Hemlock. It's almost more than obvious at this point, and without a doubt, Dr. Hemlock will die. My big point all along throughout the season is why would they even need Dr. Pershing in the first place if they already had Dr. Hemlock? Or Nala Se even. I'll be getting more into her in just a little bit. But why would they need these two if Dr. Hemlock was alive? To me, it doesn't make sense. So he's at the top of my list. We also got to know what's happening underneath that glove and what kind of experiments he's done to himself. So I definitely think we're also going to see that in this episode. But I'm also going to add Rampart into here. I don't see a reason for Rampart to live, and I'm pretty sure him being captured by the Empire is pretty much the end of where we're going to see him. He definitely will probably turn on the clones and give some sort of information to Hemlock, but there's no way he lives and comes out of this alive. What is he going to do, go back to prison? He's definitely going to die. So with that, I'm going to move on to Nala Se. I definitely think Nala Se is either going to die at the hands of Hemlock, or something to do with the Zilla Beast, or if there is some sort of bombardment of Tantus. I don't think Nala Se makes it out alive, just because where would she go? She would be hunted down by the Empire for the remaining years of her life, and I just don't really think it's feasible for the story. We're definitely going to have some losses, and some gut-wrenching scenes for the characters that we all love. With that, I'm going to talk about Hunter and Crosshair. I know most of you probably know, and I would like to thank Tony for pointing this out to me first before I saw it anywhere else on social media. Kevin Kiner and Kiner Music, as well as the showrunner for Bad Batch currently, have been putting out some very cryptic tweets on Twitter, and it's making me believe more and more that Crosshair will die regardless. But now it's making me even more certain that Hunter will die. I don't see these two living past this finale, and it's becoming more and more apparent. these two have really been sidelined this entire season, almost trying to make us feel disconnected from them as a whole, which in a weird way honestly kind of works. I don't see them making it alive, and definitely Crosshair is going to sacrifice himself in some way, shape, or form, and I think Hunter will as well. Along with that, CX2, whoever he is, will also die in this episode. It's too late in the season, it's too late in the story to even redeem this person. I'm still rooting for Cody. If it's Tech, honestly, I'm gonna be pretty upset. Only because it makes his death meaningless at this point. If CX2 is in fact Tech, then do deaths not mean anything in Star Wars? Does sacrifices not mean anything? If CX2 is Tech, then Tech's sacrifice, his death, everything leading up to it, doesn't mean anything all along. And I'm getting really sick and tired of it. Characters need to stay dead and let their lives mean something. Comment down below if you agree. I know a lot of you don't, and a lot of you want it to be Tech, but it honestly just kind of feels like a cheap shot, and throughout the entire story so far, that they've been trying way too hard to make us believe that Tech is coming back. It's one of those things where it's way too obvious. Along with that, I definitely think that Scorch will die. I don't know how he'll die, but I definitely think Scorch will die, so one way or another throughout this finale. Whether that's being eaten by the Zilla Beast, or him and Gregor getting in a fight, whatever the case may be, I don't see Scorch living on past this. I think Delta Squad is unfortunately done. I would love to see all of Delta Squad return and be reunited once again, but at the same time, it's way too late in the story for that, I believe, unless they're already all on Tantus. Along with that, my last person that I believe is going to die in this finale is going to be Dr. Scalder, which we know is the evil version of Dr. Carr. I definitely think if she dies, it will be at the hands of Dr. Carr, but I don't think Dr. Carr, for example, will be the one doing the killing. I just believe she'll either stun her with a blaster or something along those lines, or even inject her with something, and then she will die with whatever happens with Tantus fully. She will just be out of the picture. There's no way that Emery is going to allow her to get anywhere near to the children. Moving on from that, I'm going to go on to what's going to happen to Tantus, where will the remaining members of the batch go, and what will the future look like past the show. I'm going to say that Tantus will be getting decommissioned for the foreseeable future. It'll definitely be coming back in Dave Filoni's Heir of the Empire, as well as maybe even in the Manda movie, but I don't believe that's the most likely. If anything, we'll probably see it again at the end of Tales of the Empire, with the ending of Morgan Elsbeth's story. How we will see it and what the current state of Tantus looks like, well, it's going to be somewhat destroyed or just out of commission. I think mainly by the Zilla Beast being set loose and is wreaking havoc throughout the entire facility, but we also have to remember that there are 3, maybe even 4 bases altogether, including Tantus. So there's still a lot to work with here. Along with that, the Empire would have to abandon Tantus as we all know it. And I believe when they abandon it, they might try and trap the Zilla Beast inside and do some sort of orbital bombardment or aerial bombardment, or even both. And the Zilla Beast will either die and be trapped inside, or the Zilla Beast will escape and be free to roam around Wayland, but Tantus will get partially destroyed in the process. We just know that Tantus will be coming back in the future, but why would the Empire just up and leave for no reason? They have to have a reason, and they have to have a reason for not wanting to come back, or for thinking that it's too far gone. So, where will the Bad Batch go? Well, I'm going to say, definitely not Pabu. I've seen a couple times in my comments already, you guys saying that they're just going to return to Pabu, but why would they? They have already put the people there in danger multiple times, especially with the last couple episodes we have seen. The Empire knows the location of Pabu, and if even 2 episodes before then the Ventress was able to find it, then they seriously cannot go back there. It'll be the stupidest thing for them to do, I think personally. I think that it's possible that the remaining members of the batch could go to Seleucami, maybe just for a little bit, and kind of just hop around until they find a forever home, but they definitely need to go to places that they've been before that the Empire isn't fully aware of. That's why I'm saying Seleucami is definitely a possibility, because of Cutler Quain's house and farmland, which could also be used as a compound, but we never know. Another possibility for where the batch would go could be Skako Minor. We already know that the batch have a relationship with the Poltech that live there, so it is definitely a possibility that they will be taken in for some time until they find another place that they can go to. I would love to hear from you where you think the batch would go. Obviously, they're not going to go anywhere obvious. They're going to go places off the grid, and we have to remember as well that when they were looking for Omega, they went around the entire galaxy, I believe, twice. So they definitely could have found places throughout there that we hadn't seen or don't know about that they can easily go hide out as well. They definitely have found some places that they could find a suitable place to live for the remaining years of their lives. But I'm very excited for this finale. There's going to be some big deaths, some big things that are going to happen, and it's going to be setting up the future of Star Wars animation, most notably in the Clone Wars style. Next, we have Tales of the Empire coming up on Saturday. I'll be doing a watch party of all the episodes on May the 4th. With that as well, Joe from Jar Jar Jargon and I will be hosting Cantina Jargon that day as well. We're going to have an extra long one for you guys, and I cannot wait to see you all there. We're going to be going over the Tales of the Empire episodes, as well as the Bad Batch finale and Star Wars news for the future, and then we're going to be just a month away from Acolyte, and we'll start diving into that territory after that. But for the next week and a half, you're probably going to be seeing some videos from me that have to do with Tales of the Empire, and then leading into Dave's movie and Acolyte. With all that being said, I would love to hear from you all in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. And lastly, may the Force be with you all.